Yo, what is good, everybody? It is Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And we are back with part two of What If Deku had a fast learning quirk. Little recap. We basically are at the point where All Might is offering Izuku Midoriya or Deku one for all. And we basically went through his middle school days and when he got the quirk and the sludge villain fight. So let's get into some new stuff. Okay, as All Might's basically telling him, "Young Midoriya, I want to give you my quirk." Deku obviously accepts the quirk and bursts into tears just like in canon, believing that he can finally become just like All Might, like a real true hero. And then this is where we do the whole 10 months before the UA exams, and All Might asked Deku to meet him the next day at Dagobah Beach. When Deku goes over to Dagobah Beach, he sees trash and litter everywhere, and he's wondering where All Might is. And then he sees All Might going, "I am here." Then obviously they talk for a second, and then All Might explains how he has to clean this entire beach, and that will be his workout, or basically his training, so he can inherit One for All. So basically, I'm not gonna go into detail with him cleaning up the beach. I feel like that's kind of tedious, but I'm gonna say that it takes him 1 month less. So we're gonna do like 9 months, due to like him training prior. He obviously did nothing crazy, but he did do some martial arts. So I feel like that training definitely would have helped him in terms of his initial build, like before all the training at Dagobah Beach. So I would say 9 months, and plus his quirk being a fast learning quirk, I feel like he can find out the best possible ways of getting things out, like as fast as possible in terms of like getting rid of all that litter. So then after all that's done, they still have 1 more month, and All Might plucks a piece of his hair out and goes, "Eat this!" Obviously Deku, being completely confused about that statement, is wondering why. He's like, "All Might, like, why do I have to freaking eat a piece of your hair? Like, are you joking? Are you kidding me right now?" And All Might explains to him that the transfer of One for All deals with the DNA of his DNA, and he understands, and he eats the hair, and he says that we will meet back up the following day, because that's how long it's going to take for the quirk to basically resonate in Deku's DNA. So then they meet up the next day, and they begin the training of One for All, which they didn't obviously do in the canon of My Hero Academia. So they have about 1 month to actually train Deku for One for All, but obviously having that fast learning quirk is going to be freaking huge for him, right? I'm going to say that he gets full cowling pretty early in this, like during this training. Obviously, with his mind at work, he figures out that it's not the best idea to put One for All in one part of his body with knowing that it'll break his bones. And also, if he puts 100% of One for All in all his body, he will shatter his whole body. So he figures out that he has to levy the power. And he, right now, probably, I would say, can use about 8% of One for All, which is a really good jump start, right? But he also brings up an interesting idea to All Might, that if this quirk that All Might has is transferable, and these other people before him had the quirk, does the quirk that transfers other quirks transfer all the quirks? And All Might being completely confused by this, because obviously Izuku's still kind of like in that mumbling state, like he doesn't really like know how to gather his words amazingly or very good. And All Might goes like, "What do you mean, kid?" And he basically says, Deku basically says that these other users of One for All had quirks, right? And All Might basically told him like, "Yeah, I guess we could assume that." And then Deku brings up the idea that, so does that mean I have all their quirks as well? And All Might, completely astounded by this, didn't even think about this prior, is just baffled. Maybe he does. Maybe he has all the quirks that his former master or anybody these people had. And that's an idea that we're gonna keep in pocket for a little bit later. But basically Zuko or Deku is conscious of the idea that these transfer of quirks down to one successor to the next could possibly grant him even more quirks than just One for All and his fast learning quirk. Obviously during this 1 month, I will definitely say that I don't think he would be using shoot style as much as I really like that style in the anime. I feel like it would lean more toward a more grounded based fluid movement, like kind of like jab in and out. Like he watched a lot of MMA and UFC and all that, and picking up from all that, a lot of like Muay Thai and stuff like that. So I wouldn't see him like recklessly spin kicking and stuff like that. Like he would do like actual martial arts techniques, and he'll know how to throw a punch really well, throw out a kick really well, know certain areas of the body where to strike, stuff like that. Weakest point, like liver, body shots, stuff like that. I feel like he'll be really good at. So after that initial 1 month, after obviously the 9 months of cleaning Dagobah Beach, Izuku is just shredded, my dude. He is ripped, because obviously with his fast learning quirk, he knows the best way to work out, especially during that last month, and especially with All Might there to help him as well to basically iron out any kinks in One for All. I can definitely see him being completely shredded going to the UA entrance exam. So keep in mind, I'm gonna keep it to the canon where Deku didn't really study very much, but I don't see that being really a problem. So let's go to the UA entrance exam. So he begins to going over there, and he actually does not trip this time. Ironically enough, he has pretty good use of his body. He's not super clumsy, I would say, especially if you're interested in MMA or anything like that. You can't really be clumsy with your body, so I wouldn't see him tripping. So I'm gonna say he doesn't have that initial interaction with Uraraka, but I'm sure he will have an interaction with her eventually. But basically they walk up, they do the test. I can still see Izuku or Deku murmuring in the class or while President Mike is talking. So Ida will definitely get really mad about that and like wave his arm up and down, like stop murmuring in the back, blah blah blah. You know, the whole shtick that he does. But other than that, that's pretty canon, and I feel like he'll get 100% on the test. I feel like his last learning quirk at this point, especially with One for All on top of it, obviously One for All boosts that quirk, or we can assume. I feel like his fast learning quirk will just help him breeze through the test pretty easily. So he'll easily get 100%. And I think when Nezu is grading the test, he'll probably be like, wow, this kid is like on a new level of intelligent. Like he might be as smart as me. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So then we get to the fighting portion of the exam where they're with the robots, and President Mike's explaining that some robots are 1 point, others are 2, others are 3, and the 0 point robot or whatever is like this big robot. I mean, I wouldn't even worry about it. That's basically what he's saying. And actually in this, I feel like Izuku would have figured it out. I feel like Deku would have figured out the whole point of the exam, and he would have been like, I mean, when you think about it, it has to be more than just these villain points. Like, I'm destroying villains, because there's more to being a hero than just defeating villains. So in his mind, he decides, okay, well then I'm gonna take this like if I was doing a routine hero, like hero fighting, right, with other heroes or other civilians being around. So when he would himself be fighting other robots, yes, but every time he sees someone that like needs help or struggling, he'll help them out. and he feels, and even if he's wrong, he feels that he's gonna get enough points in terms of the robots to pass. So he's not too worried about that. So I would say he would end up racking up about maybe like 40 to 50 robot points. I feel like 50 robot points would be a good scale. And that's like before the 0-pointer comes out. And then out of nowhere, this huge robot, President Mike, Deku in his head was thinking, President Mike was not kidding. This thing is fucking huge. Huge robot comes out of nowhere. And he's like, well, maybe I should just leave. Like, there's no reason for me to fight this thing. I mean, and then he looks and he sees this girl like underneath this rubble, and she seems like she's stuck, like she can't get out. So his body, just like in the Sludgeville incident, reacts on its own. He begins running full speed, and then he just goes like blank for a second, like, and then out of nowhere he's up on top of the robot's head. And with his fast learning quirk, he was able to analyze the robot's weak spots, and he basically does a Delaware smash into its head, dives into its head, and takes out its circuits, and rips it apart from the inside, jumps out, kicks it in the face to push it the opposite direction of the girl trapped underneath the rocks, and then falls down on the ground. Obviously catching himself, being in full cowling, I feel like he'd be able to stick that landing pretty well. Then he proceeds to take all the rocks off of this mysterious girl that's just under these rocks, and asks if she's okay. And she responds, "Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you so much. You saved me." And then he's like, "Can you walk?" And she's like, "No, I think I sprained my ankle." So he picks her up and begins to like run with her off of the battlefield, obviously, to get her into a safe position. And then that's when President Mike basically says that the exam is over. And at this point, I feel like Deku, having his learning quirk, fast learning quirk, he's like, yeah, I passed. Like, I'm pretty sure I passed. Like, he just knows, because he has a really huge hunch that this is how this exam works. So, yeah. And then we get the week before he gets his letter. I would say he probably trained and started training a little bit more. Maybe picking up on some new martial arts, watching some new UFC fights, maybe pick up on some things, some new fighting poses, a little bit of that. And I feel like he'll continue to train One For All, and I feel like at this point he'd be at about 15% of One For All's capabilities. And then he's just chilling in his room and like working on something, and his mom comes in and goes, "Asuku, a letter from UA." Like how she did it in canon. He takes the letter and he opens it up, and it's All Might. He goes, "I am here, coming to you from this hologram." And All Might basically explains that Izuku or Deku got 50 villain points, but that there was a secret part of the exam for hero points. And Deku was basically like, "Yeah, I freaking knew it. Like, I knew it. Like, I knew I was right." And All Might explained that he actually did a lot of saving during the exam. Like, he got 150 hero points for a total of 200 points, which was first in the exam. And Deku's like, "Whoa, like, I didn't expect. That's crazy." He didn't expect, like, even he has a fast learning quirk, he didn't even expect that he would get that many points for doing what he was doing. And All Might even says he broke his record. So now Izuku is actually holding the record for most points in the entrance exam history. So then now, at this point, Izuku, I would say, probably just keeps training until the first day of UA, right? And the same thing happens. I would say he gets the same costume. Might do a couple tweaks, but it'd be basically the same costume, because his quirk won't really be affected by the costume. But he gets the same costume from his mother like usual, and goes off to the first day for the UA. And he's walking class to class, and he sees class 1A. He's like, that's the one, right? Yeah. And he looks, and this door is like 10 feet high, like 10 feet tall. And he's like, what the heck kind of giants are in this classroom? And he's like, oh, whatever, doesn't matter. So he walks in, and the first thing he sees is Ida, the guy that got mad at him for murmuring during, like, when President Mike was talking, and Bakugo with his feet on the desk, just barking back and forth at each other. And he's like, oh my god, not this. So he basically walks in, and Ida walks over to him and is like, you are a superior student to me. How'd you know about the hidden portion of the exam? And Deku basically said, I felt like it was pretty obvious. I mean, like, we're heroes in training, right? And obviously to Deku it's obvious because of his quirk, but to other people, you know, I'm sure it wasn't that obvious. And Ida basically was like, oh, like, you're a superior student, blah blah blah, you know, whatever. And then Uraraka comes up from behind Deku. He goes, I know that messy hair and that plain looking face from anywhere. Which, fucking disrespectful. But she's like, oh, you're the one that saved me. And then obviously Deku's still kind of like that awkward whatever. He's like, yeah, no problem, that's like heroes and yeah, training, yeah, work, yeah, right? And then out of nowhere, this like caterpillar sleeping bag just like flops through the door, you know? And he's like, and then it kind of gets peeked out and pulls down the zipper, and he goes, oh, if you're here to make friends, I recommend you go home now. And it's their teacher, Mr. Aizawa. And he basically comes in and he goes, here, put these on, which is their like PE type uniforms. And he's like, meet me outside in 10 minutes. And then Uraka is like, wait, what about orientation? And he's like, there's no need for that. I have 3 years to make you into amazing heroes or whatever he said, you know, something like that, something in that ballpark, you know. I don't like orientation, let's be honest. I mess with Aizawa for that one. Orientation sucks. But yeah, that's a little off topic. But so then everyone's getting dressed in the locker rooms, and the same thing happens with Mineta and Jiro just stabbing him in his eye with her earphone jack. And basically Deku is taking off his clothing like to get dressed, and Kirishima's like, dang man, like, you're ripped, like, what did you do? And he's like, oh, like, I've been kind of working out like all my life now, like doing a lot of martial arts and stuff. And Kirishima's like, wow man, like, I can tell. Like, he's like, martial arts, maybe I should get into that, that'd probably be a good idea for me. And he's like, and then Deku asks like, what's your quirk? And he goes, basically, I can harden my body. He's like, hey, that would be perfect for you. I can always give you some tips if you like. And Kirishima's like, heck yeah, man. So then basically, like, you know, Deku, they all get ready, and then they go out to the field to meet Aizawa. And Aizawa does not toss the ball to Bakugo, and tosses it to Deku. Tosses the ball to Deku and basically says, here, you got the highest score in the UA entrance exam, so I want you to throw us as far as possible. And Bakugo at this point is just steaming, little explosions coming out of his hands. He's like, damn nerd, got a better score than me. And Deku's just like lining up, and he basically lines up perfectly, perfect form, and just launches the ball with 15% of one for all. And he gets about, I would say like, probably like 500 meters. I wouldn't say anything crazy, because you got to realize this isn't 100% of one for all. You know what I mean? So this is only like 15%. So then after that, Bakugo is just furious and tries to charge at Deku. But then I saw what hits him with the cancel Quirk and wraps him up in his his scarf, completely stopping Bakugo, and basically scolds him and saying if he does that ever again, that he will get expelled. And then after that, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is so cool! Like, we get to use our quirks to like do like simple like PE, what they did in middle school." And Aizawa, with like the scariest grin, just goes, "Oh, fun, huh?" He goes, "How about this? Let's up the stakes. Whoever gets the lowest score gets expelled." And everyone just freezes. Expelled? Yeah, expelled. So then everything happens like normal in terms of like the things they have to do. It's like the grip strength, the side steps, the sprints, the jump, the whatever it's called, the jumping pit, right? Deku does pretty good on all of them, frankly. Especially having full cowling already makes it pretty easy. He can clear the sand pit. He's pretty fast, almost on the like on par with like Ida in terms of speed. And actually he gets first in this like little mock test they have going on. So he gets first. So he actually had he didn't have any worries about getting expelled. He wasn't worried. He's a fast learner, obviously. He knew like every little strategy that what to do, like the best way to do the side steps, best way to go about jumping the sand pit, stuff like that. But actually the person that got the worst score was Mineta. And he's like, oh, but like I want to be a hero. You know, he's like all sad. And then Aizawa was like, calm down. No one's getting expelled. It was just a logical ruse to make you try your best. And everyone's like, oh my god, like, are you serious? You can't do that. Like, everyone's all stressed out. And then Momo's like, you guys didn't know that? Like, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have told you guys. That's on me. So then obviously that day ends like normal, and with nobody getting expelled. And I think that's where I'm gonna end it off, part 2 of What If Deku Had a Fast Learning Quirk. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you enjoyed, please hit the sub, hit the like, helps me a lot. I appreciate it. And if you have any suggestions, put them in the comment section below, and we will get to it during or after this What If is over. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and peace out.